How is Spider-Man going to have to step up his game to go toe to toe with an MA rated Kingpin?
That's a good question. I like that question.
If Fisk is going to be killed, who would be the Avenger or the character that should be the one to finally gets to do it?
I, this it's a very difficult question.
Where we're going, we don't need roads.
But there is a lot of attention right now being paid to the fact that this is the first Marvel series on Disney Plus that's been given that mature rating because the violence has been elevated a little bit. But your performance, which I love as Kingpin, has always sort of featured that violent brutality, so that the other characters are probably going to have to step up to match that level of savagery. So, what does this MA rating mean for future Marvel characters you might have to share the screen with one day? Like, how is Spider-Man going to have to step up his game to go toe to toe with an MA rated Kingpin?
That's a good question. I like that question. I think that it's going to be something that they're going to have to deal with. I think that in Echo, it's not just Fisk, but Lekwa Cox's character, Maya, who the main story is about. Her journey it's a very physical character. It harkens back to Charlie in the original Netflix series with me. And so it's gritty, it's tough, and it's hard hitting, violent stuff when it wants to be. And it's a good question of how they're going to handle that. I don't know. We'll hopefully I'll end up in one of those films. That would be nice. I think people would dig seeing Kingpin and Spider-Man and Daredevil going at it in a film. And I don't know how they'll handle it, but I think you're right. It's going to be tough.
I really love when characters are linked together in really interesting ways. So, with that in mind, I want to start out talking about the new eye patch, and specifically in regards to Charlie Cox and Daredevil, because now we have both a hero and a villain who both have visual impairments to varying degrees. How do you think it's going to affect the relationship between Daredevil and Kingpin on screen? But I guess more importantly, as actors, how does it affect your relationship with Charlie? Do you now have a different perception of his performance and what he's had to do as Daredevil?
I mean, I haven't thought about it like that. I guess there will be a bit. One of the story points in Echo is what's happening with that wound that she's given him, and so I can't, without giving anything away, that has a lot to do with what you're talking about. Maybe not in the way you're stating it, but there is something that happens with that wound that I just can't speak about.
Marvel junkets are the hardest junkets in the world.
Yeah, exactly. It is. It's true. It's hard to know what you're allowed to say and what you're not. I think that in Echo especially, the fact that she did shoot him in Hawkeye and she did get him in the eye. We answer all of that during the show, what's going on with that. So I can't really talk about it very much.
Well, speaking about that scene in Hawkeye, I got really worried at the end of that series that you had been killed off. So I'm obviously very happy that's not the case. But it stands to reason that at some point, Kingpin Fisk might be killed off in the MCU. So with that premise, which Marvel character would you like to see do it? If Fisk is going to be killed, who would be the Avenger or the character that should be the one to finally gets to do it?
It's a very difficult question because I don't see that happening. I don't see Kingpin dying. Kingpin never died in the canon of the comic book, so that's very difficult. I'll talk in terms of like who could come close to it. I think that would have to be either Daredevil or Spider-Man. I think, or together, the two of them together maybe. But I don't see Kingpin going away. He never did when I was a kid, so I don't expect he will now.
And nor do we want him to. I always just love doing sort of the fun hypotheticals. I'm going to cut you loose on this. When an actor plays a Marvel superhero, they oftentimes get asked about the costume, and rightfully so. It's a good question. But in the spirit of that, I want to ask you about your suits, which are kind of in a way like Kingpin's own superhero costume. That image of blood on the white suit, I think, is gorgeous. I'm sort of curious, what do the suits you wear as Kingpin give you as an actor? And then what do you think they give him as a character?
Yeah, I mean they're so iconic because of the comics. I think that in the Netflix series, I think we really kind of nailed that look, and then in the in David Mack's original drawings and uh, other artists that have depicted Kingpin in the comics, they've always dressed him perfectly and with these great vests and embroidery and all this kind of great stuff. I think it's a very classic Kingpin look, and I think it still works. In the, it's iconic. You're going to see that a lot more often, I think.
I'm dying to see it, man. And seriously, totally cool. Don't ever kill him off. I am with you every step of the way. So, Mr. D'Onofrio, always an honor to speak with you. It's so funny whenever I get to do junkets like this. I get to sort of ask the questions I always wanted to geek out asking you. So seriously, I appreciate you taking the time.
Yeah, of course, man. I appreciate it. Thanks.
All right, take care. Bye, guys.
Where we're going, we don't need roads.